Ravens training camp is finally about to kick off. We'll talk about all the positional battles on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Welcome back to episode 248 of the Purple Rain Podcast, or the college football NCAA 25 release day, if you're into that. Wish I could be playing right now. But welcome back to episode 248 of the Purple Rain Podcast, the Jeremiah Moon episode, Patrick Queen episode. Funnily enough, those two are now Steelers. Yeah. The Frank Hartley episode, the Patrick Owasso episode, the Jordan Richards episode, and the Patrick Scales episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you for coming through this episode. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram, on X, at Sutton Def. I actually had a pretty eventful weekend. I'll let you talk about that. Some cool stuff happened. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. It's 100 plus degrees out there. I was at the Orioles game on Saturday. Boy, was I sweating. It wasn't as bad because I had the Manscaped. So, when I'm just letting y'all know. Manscaped goes crazy. But go PRP, 20% off your whole order, free international shipping. But Sutton, how was your weekend since it is a Monday show?
Weekend was great. I mean, like you said, it was hot, but I had a good time. I was celebrating a birthday for a friend, so that was cool. Got to do some karaoke. That was pretty fun. Haven't done that in a long time, but overall it was a good weekend, all the way up until got some news, right, yesterday. Surrounding, Ravens community, of course. As we all know, Jacoby Jones, former Raven, passed away in his sleep over the weekend. And first and foremost, just want to give our thoughts and prayers to his family and, his close associates, friends, things like that. And to pass away like that at 40 years old is absolutely devastating. It's got to be like gut wrenching for anybody who is close to him. So again, just thoughts and prayers to everybody. But of course, a Ravens legend. We want to give our props to him in the chat. We want to give our condolences to his family. Chat. I know the chat's gonna pop up with it too. But Alex, what did you? How are you feeling about all this?
Yeah, I didn't know until I kind of went on the social media. I wasn't on there yesterday morning. It was like afternoon. I think I first got on like 12 or 1 o'clock. Had an early morning, and then I didn't believe it. I hate that we're in the world where people kind of want to report somebody's death as if they get a little bit of recognition. That's not cool. Wait for the family, wait for the team. I didn't want to believe it until, unfortunately somebody close to him did confirm it. To me, I still really haven't, it hasn't hit me. I don't want to believe it because I'm sitting here, making this video and I'm like, there's no way. 40 years old. Like, there's no, like, I refuse to believe it. Freaking sucks. Like you said, Ravens legend. To me, he has 2 of the top 5 plays in franchise history. 100%. He was only here for 3 years, and to me, he's a Ravens legend. Someone who was here that short amount of time, I will always look as a legend. On and off the field, too, was always there. Even, when he stopped playing, he retired a Raven, was literally just at our rookie camp last month with the team. Was always around. He would always be at games, do stuff with the team. Yeah, I refuse to believe it's real, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. I definitely share the same sentiment there. You say he has, I think you said, 3 of the best 5 plays or 2 of the best 5 plays in Ravens history?
I said 2, but you can definitely make 3 if you want to count.
You can make a case. You can make a case. Yeah, because, just talking about that entire 2012 playoff run, it was Anquan Bolden and it was Jacoby Jones. They were both neck and neck to me, you know what I mean? And of course, there were contributions from others, but I think the plays that stood out the most definitely came from one Jacoby Jones. And the crazy thing is, Jacoby Jones was never, like the bona fide number one wide receiver. He was never touted as that. But in that 2012 playoffs, there were just multiple moments. You know what I mean? Of course, we can all look back to the Mile High Miracle when the Ravens are down 7 with a couple minutes to go against the Broncos in that divisional game, and Flacco just throws a bomb over everybody's heads, and who's right there to catch it? Jacoby Jones, and walks in for the touchdown. And of course, we advanced the AFC Championship game, and then in the Super Bowl again. I mean, running back the kick return, fresh out of halftime. I mean,
bro.
and not even just that, but I think that was my second favorite play of his in that Super Bowl. My favorite play of his in that Super Bowl was the deep ball from Flacco to him, where he kind of falls, he gets up, spins out of the, oh my gosh. He spins out of the first guy's, defense, and then he jukes the hell out of the second guy and just kind of runs around into the end zone. And like, this is in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Like, this is not just Jacoby Jones was not just anybody. Like, this guy was special. I mean, he played for multiple teams, coaches from every team, even Mike Tomlin, right? He had a stint with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin came out and said, he was a good guy. He loved coaching him. So, just, and the personality. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ranting right now, but Jacoby Jones is like my guy, but just the personality that the guy had too. I remember him at the, what was the award show a couple of years ago where he was representing the Raven. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just Jacoby, man, it hurts. It hurts. It really
Dance with
does.
the Stars.
So, yeah, like, come on, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that deep pass, because he literally shook two people, like shook one person, spins out the other, like still goes for it. And the whole year, I actually went back and looked at all his plays. Kickoff return against the Cowboys, we don't win that game without him. We won that game 31-29. We won a Sunday night game against the Steelers 13-10, and of course he had a punt return. So like, without him, we don't even make the playoffs, I think. That's 2 games that we would have lost. So, and just the year before, he only was a Raven because he muffed a punt against the Ravens in the playoffs with the Texans. We take a chance with him. We want him here. And then he becomes, to me, a Ravens legend in literally a year. That 1 year. Then even the year after, the kickoff return in the snow game against the Vikings. So many good plays. Yeah, man. A quick story. I actually found a photo from like 2013. He had a radio show at the Green Turtle Owings Mills, and he actually made time after the show to take a picture with me and one of my friends. I have it on my phone, like a small, like 13-year-old Alex. I found it with him, and it was just crazy. I still refuse to believe it, but yeah, what a guy.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's just absolutely flooring to hear that, that news yesterday. And I didn't want to believe it, just like everybody else. But, then more and more news started coming out, and I was just gutted for him. So, yeah. Rest in peace to Jacoby Jones. Yeah.
I hope we have the patch this year on the jersey. I know we didn't have one for Ferguson or Goose, but they had to do something on the helmet because they both passed away on the same day. Like, that was ultimate bad luck. But I really do hope we have a 12 patch on the jersey. Just kind of what he meant to this franchise, and even after his playing days.
Yeah, absolutely. And apologies, my dog is kind of attacking me right now as I'm on stream. So yeah, he gives his condolences as well, right, boy? Yeah. So rest in peace, rest in power to Jacoby Jones, man. Ravens legend, Ravens champion. Yeah. I mean, can't say enough good things about the guy. So
no.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and move into what we came to talk about here on this episode here. Excuse me. All right, he's doing a little bit too much now. All right, let's get him away. Come on. You gotta go. Go ahead. Go. All right. I think I've fended him off for now. Okay. So we came here to talk about, training camp is on the horizon. The rookies have already reported to the castle. So we're getting very close. We are getting dangerously close to getting Ravens football back. And I am ecstatic. I can tell you that. Mm-hmm. We're in July, mid-July, right? So literally a month from now, we're going to be playing preseason games and football is going to be back. Isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, the off season, it came, it went. We saw, we conquered, we did it. We made it, guys. I mean, we made it. Training camp is like the start of everything, right? When you start getting those 7-on-7, 11-on-11 videos
Yep.
and whatnot, where you have your quarterback throwing touchdowns and you see who's catching it and you get all excited because that's what season we're in, guys. That's what season we're in. So training camp is on the horizon. Like I said, the rookies have already reported. And today we're going to talk about 5 matchups that you're going to want to look out for um, come training camp. There's a couple
Yeah.
of positional battles, a couple of question marks here and there, whether it be on offensive line. You guys know about some of the receivers we've drafted, things like that. So that's kind of what we're going to get into. And this is actually by way of an article that Alex sent me earlier. You want to kind of talk about where that was from?
Yeah, it was from Sports Illustrated, I believe, online. Uh, Let me pull it up right now. But yeah, so basically, like you said, they were kind of just gave out the 5 battles that something that we have to watch, written by John Alfano, Raven Country. So we can get right into it right now. The first one is right tackle, Roger Rosengart against Daniel Falele. So obviously, we draft Rosengart in the second round, coming off a great year with Washington. And then we have Falele, who's going into year 3, which is crazy. Never really locked a starting position down. Morgan Moses was banged up. He'd fill in, but didn't play, I guess, well enough to warrant him that starting position. I feel like if he played at a very high level, he may have gotten it, because they were always probably planning on him being the future right tackle. But especially now, you have to look at we're just kind of going through right tackles. You had Orlando Brown in 2020. You had Villanueva at 2021. Then he moves to left when Stanley goes down. So it was a carousel. I mean, Makari was playing right. We had the guy from the practice squad, David Sharp, playing right tackle at a point. And then 22, we get Morgan Moses, who I thought played average to above average level the past 2 years, but he was banged up. He couldn't stay on the field. We part ways with him. We traded him back to the Jets, and now we're stuck with a rookie or a year 3 guy who really hasn't, played consistent ball. So this is going to be big for them. I mean, I would like to see Falele win. He is 6'8", 380. It kind of just depends what Todd Monken's offensive line looks like. We know he likes an athletic line, and 6'8", 380. I mean, yeah, 6'8". Yeah, I had to catch myself. 380. Wow. I don't know if he's lost weight since then, but this article says that.
That's
Will he be able?
huge.
Will he be able to pass protect? The way like Lamar likes to play, him rolling out. I don't know, but we'll see how he comes into camp and how he looks. But I'm looking at a second round pick, Roger Rosengart, and we got him there for a reason. And most likely, your day 2 picks, your second round pick, probably going to start. So right now, I'm
Yeah.
giving the edge to Falele, but Rosengart is real close behind.
Yeah. For me, I'm giving the edge all the way to Rosengarten. And simply because of the reason that you just stated. I mean, a second round pick, we talk about it all the time. It's the reason why I still feel like we have to get a Rashad Bateman more incorporated. I mean, we had high draft capital spent on these guys, and Roger Rosengarten is the one we're talking about now. I think that it's his job to lose. I mean, Daniel Faalele, I think that he's a nice piece. And of course, he's a mountain of a man. That's all cool. But we just spent a second round pick. And, on a team where we just talked about it on last episode with Kevin Ostreicher. Shout out to him again for coming on the show. But we just talked about it with him, like on a team that's, getting ready to be very, very impacted by Lamar Jackson's contract in the next couple of years. We have to start getting these guys in place, like these young guys who are drafting high right now. We got to get them ready to go. We got to get them ready to be all pros, by the time, in the next 2-3 seasons or so. That's what we're looking at. We need to make more Tyler Linderbaum type products. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking for out of like a Roger Rosengarten. So I think that it's definitely his job to lose. And again, I have nothing against Daniel Faalele, nothing at all. I mean, I was a big fan of it. I mean, I love guys like that. You know what I mean? Like the Islander type guys. I don't know exactly where Faalele is from. He's got that Islander look. You know what I mean? He's like one of those big guys. You know what I mean? He can move. He can move men. I know that for a fact. But when you spend a second round pick on a Roger Rosengarten again, I just think that it warrants him getting that nod to be the starter.
Yeah, kind of throwing a little bit of a dark horse, Patrick McCarry, the jack of all trades to do it all. Wouldn't surprise me if we start hearing his name maybe at right tackle if they aren't performing up to par. And Falele, I mean, I saw, I think it was one of like the insiders said that we possibly could see him at a guard position. Falele, I wouldn't hate that either. But whatever is best for this line, whoever is performing the best, because I just want our quarterback to be protected. So moving on to the next one. I don't know if you have much more to say, Sutton. We good on that one?
No, I'm good on that one.
Awesome.
Yep.
This one's interesting, and I would love to hear what you have to think first. The backup quarterback position. It was Tyler Huntley's for the past couple of years. Josh Johnson and Devin Leary. Josh Johnson, the seasoned vet, been in damn near every single football league you want to think of. And then Devin Leary, 7th-round pick out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I've heard that Devin Leary is kind of like impressed, in mini camp and stuff like that. He's been looking good so far. He's got a big arm. But we're talking. What was it? You said 7th-round pick, 6 or 7?
I'm sorry, like 6th-round pick, 6.
Yeah, 6th-round pick. I think we're in trouble, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. If Lamar, God forbid, if he were to go down with something or whatever, then do I have any faith that Josh Johnson can kind of will this team to victory? No, I don't. No matter, like, I think our roster is really good, and I think we have competent coaching. I can't say that our coaching is A1, especially after some of our recent playoff performances in that department. But I think that right now, as it stands, we are in trouble, and I'm looking at Devin Leary as kind of like a Trace McSorley. And in a way, I'm getting that same kind of vibe. Like if he were to start, I would have the same amount of confidence that I had in the Trace McSorley a couple of years ago when he was kind of thrust into the starting lineup when Lamar went down. So it's just up in the air with that one. We'll see what happens in training camp. We'll see who throws more touchdowns and interceptions. I think that's going to be huge. And then of course in the preseason as well. I mean, these guys are obviously going to get a ton of reps playing quarterback in preseason. So we'll see who kind of shines a little bit more. Will it move me more if Devin Leary starts to come out there and, look really good? Then yes, of course. And, as opposed to Josh Johnson, who's been on 14 different teams, we know what his ceiling is, just point blank period, but the allure of Devin Leary and kind of not knowing what his potential is really, that's a little bit intriguing. So I guess I would give the nod to him, but again, it's all going to come down to training camp and preseason.
Yeah, I have no faith in Josh Johnson. I saw him come in 2 years ago in the NFC Championship, and he got knocked out within the first couple of plays. Even when he was healthy, did not look good. And I'm glad K-Dog brought this up. He said, please remember, Monken ran an offense in Georgia with a more stationary quarterback. I honestly, I kind of want to take a look at Zach Wilson when he was on the trade block. I knew it was like a 7th-round pick, but it's somebody behind, Lamar that has growing. Hell, I wouldn't hate, depending what the Rams are looking at, if Stetson Bennett costs like a 7th-round pick next year, I bring him in as a backup. Because like you said, crazier things have happened in the NFL. Look at Aaron Rodgers last year. I'm not expecting him to take us to the playoffs, but he knows the system. And that's why we were interested in Trey Lance last year too, when he got traded from the Niners to the Cowboys. Like, we were looking to improve our backup position. I mean, we have a top 2 quarterback in the league right now, but crazier things have happened. We've seen that 2 years, but this is also a point to bring up. We could always go out there and get somebody, but the edge, I'm gonna give it to Josh Johnson. He's a hardball guy, and like you said, Leary does remind me of a Trace McSorley. Put up good stats at a good college, but he wasn't the first, second, or third, day 1, day 2 guy. So falls in that day 3 role. Hopefully, he can stay around the league long enough, to get his money. But I like Josh Johnson in this one. So moving on to the next one, I think this is gonna be interesting. The number 3 wide receiver, Nelson Aguilar and Devontae Walker. So we know Zay and Bates 1 and 2, but I'll start here. I think it's Aguilar 1,000,000%. I thought he played really well last year. There's a reason why I brought him back. Taz Walker will get his chances, but 1,000,000%, this is Nelson Aguilar's.
Yeah, I agree here. Nelson Aguilar, he was, I think, a little bit more than just what you would call serviceable last season, especially as a wide receiver 3 at that position. I think that, on top of some of the big catches that he made throughout the season, he also provided a lot of veteran leadership, I think, not only to his fellow receivers, but also to Lamar Jackson as well. I think that he was good counsel for him. So I definitely think that he's going to be in the mix a lot, and he's going to get the nod initially, at least over Devontae Walker, just because of seniority, tenure, things like that in this league. Um, but I will say this, and again, this is going to be the common theme with a lot of these conversations, because a lot of these conversations include younger players and rookies, right? I think that it's going to be heavy in preseason. Devontae Walker, he's going to have a couple of big catches, maybe some touchdowns here and there in the preseason in order for him to warrant cracking that starting lineup and kind of seeing the field as a receiver. And I don't know, I figure they'll probably line him up more. I believe he played more in the slot in college. Yeah, is that correct? Okay, yeah. They'll probably throw him out there and mix him in with some of these different tight end sets that we have going on that I'm sure Todd Monken's been working on. So I'm excited to see what Devontae Walker can do, because I know he's got that kind of like explosive type of upside, you know what I mean? But Nelson Aguilar, man, he's tried and true. I think that he kind of rejuvenated his career a little bit with the Ravens, to be honest with you. And nobody really talks about that. I remember when we first signed Nelson Aguilar last offseason, I was very indifferent. I made a YouTube short. I'll never forget. I was very indifferent about us signing him. But he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong.
Yep.
So I agree with you on this one. I'm definitely gonna give the nod to Nelson.
Yeah, so was I. He had that really good year with the Raiders in 2020. Went to the Patriots, put up receiver 4 numbers. It really wasn't the greatest. And I'm right there with you. I remember when we first signed him, I posted the video. Somebody commented, when your parents say they have food at home and it's Aguilar, I said, no, it's the melted granola bar in the car door. Um, and I couldn't have been more wrong, and I'm happy. Like, Nelson Aguilar was more than just a 3 last year. I think in that Rams game when he kind of told Lamar he's going to be bait, and he was. He attracts the safety down, and that leaves Zay Flowers 1-on-1 and catches the touchdown, and then we go for 2 and then get the lead, and obviously they go down, tie it up, but Tom Wallace takes it back. Just stuff like that. That's, you really can't put a cap number on that type of knowledge. Super Bowl winner. Yeah, give me Aguilar, and it's 3 all day. Now, number 3, safety. They say the competitions are Darius Washington against the field. So the options that we have, Snoozy Kane, 7th round pick, Jordan Tolles, and then Bo Braid, who I'm super high on, out of Maryland, undrafted free agent. But we could sign a safety. Who knows? We both agreed that it's not number 1 on the list. It's definitely a luxury item, but we have bigger needs to fill. I think we're both Darius Washington stands. We both really like his play. He had a sack last year, and I think he had a really good pass breakup against, I think, T. Higgins last year too. And then he got hurt. So I think this Darius is to lose. He can play in the nickel. He can play back there in the safety. He's physical. He's a dog. I like Darius against a lot of these guys. I hope Bo Braid makes it, but give me Darius if we don't sign a safety.
Yeah, and remind me really quick, Darius is in his what year with us?
I think this is year 3. Year 3.
Year 3. Yeah, man. I think Darius he's earned it.
No.
Or is it 4?
Is he 3? I think it might be 4. I think he came in when we drafted Bait. Yeah, it was the same.
It does
year.
feel like he's been around for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
yep.
For the same reasons you said, I agree. I definitely want Darius to kind of get the nod there. I mean, he's a dog. He does play like a Raven. He may not be the most talented guy on the squad, but he's going to go out there and give 100% every single time. And that's what I love about him. And the good thing about, kind of this spot that we're arguing about, debating about here, not really debating, but having a discussion about, is that there's already a lot of good coverage, in our safety room. Right? Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams, that is the best safety duo in the league. And it's not up for debate. It's not. So I just think that having an Darius Washington as kind of like that safety number 3 spot, I think it works. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of him. I think he can kind of like pin his ears back and kind of fly around. And we saw last year what Mike McDonald was able to do, and kind of like weaponizing these low key DBs like Arthur Millette. You know what I mean? And then I think Darius Washington, like you said, he had a sack last year too. So we'll see what DC Orr can draw up and see what he can get for Darius Washington. But I definitely think it should be him over Sanusi Kane, who spend draft capital on him, but very very low draft capital. And then Bo Braid, I can't remember who was the other guy you said again. Jordan Tolles, right?
Jordan Tolles, yes.
Yeah, Jordan Tolles. So I mean, no disrespect to your guy Bo Braid. I know he's a Maryland kid and everything, but I just think Ardarius has earned it.
No, you're right, and he also was hurt coming into practice as well, so that doesn't help him. Special teams are going to be big for him, for guys like him and Sanusi Kane, I think. And as Tanja says, we got to, what's going on, Roosh? Tanja says we got to pick up a safety. Ardarius is small. If he can stay healthy, that's the problem. Every year by game 2, he gets injured. You can say that for him, Pepe Williams, and Jalen Armour Davis. Like all three of them.
By the way,
Except
today's
out of
Pepe's
the three,
birthday.
Happy birthday, Pepe. They're our new number 24, I believe. But going back to that, at least we've seen something from Washington. I want to see more from those two guys, and we spent 4th-round picks on them. Ardarius was an undrafted guy, but if we were to get a guy on a vet minimum, like DeCosta usually does, safety-wise, we can just kind of let Ardarius kind of fly around like he was the first 2 games last year. I definitely wouldn't hate that. Let him let Zach Ward kind of just do what he wants to do with him. I'd really be cool with that. But it depends. I mean, Justin Simmons, I don't think will take a vet minimum. There's the guy, Quandre Diggs. He's still out there, and a couple other safeties are out there as well. So I think we will get somebody in 100%, but I don't think it'll be Simmons. A low-key guy, like what we did with Darby and Millette last year. All right, moving on. I think this is probably one of the more interesting ones. Our kick returner. Okay. So you have the new kick returner rules. The competition. Deontay Hardy against Justice Hill. So this is, the new guy against the guy who's been here since 2019. Managed to stick around. Justice Hill making plays on special teams and offense. And I'll be honest, I know we signed Hardy for a kickoff, but I like Justice Hill in this one. I saw what he did against the Dolphins last year, had a really good return. I think he had one against – no, Duke had one against the Texans in the playoffs, but Justice Hill, he produces on special teams. Hardy, he did miss all of camp. He was brought in just to be a kick returner, but I do like Justice Hill's burst acceleration. I'm going to give this one to Justice Hill. I really am. I think he'll have for the first couple of games that he'll be there since Keaton Mitchell is out, and I don't know what Rasheen Ali is going to bring. But for the long run, I like it. I like Justice Hill.
Yeah, see, I gotta disagree with you on this one, man. I gotta go with Deontay Hardy. I mean, like you said, I mean, I know he missed all of camp. I have to get an update on his I-word status. But if you brought this guy in specifically for kick returning, right, and especially because the rule has been changed now, we all know that it's going to look totally different than it has in years past. I think that you have to kind of give this guy a shot. Not to mention as well, like you mentioned, Keaton Mitchell is not going to play until maybe November, December. They just put him on the PUP list today, which means that Justice Hill is going to have to carry more of the workload in the backfield, along with Derrick Henry, because they're not going to be trying to run Derrick Henry into the ground in September. You know what I mean? So I think that Justice Hill is going to be getting a fair amount of carries, and I think that should keep him out of the kick returner spot and put Deontay Hardy back there again. Now, what's going to be interesting to watch is the most interesting thing about the preseason. I know I've been talking about preseason a whole bunch, but we're going to get our first look at this new kickoff rule in the preseason, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to get, oh man, I'm just now realizing this. I'm so excited to get that kind of firsthand look at what that's going to look like. And I know that I don't know if it's going to be Deontay Hardy who's back there or whoever's going to be returning kicks first, but
yeah,
I think that we'll kind of see that, okay, this requires a special type of skill set. And again, they brought in the Hardy kid who's a Baltimore native again. They brought him in for that exact reason. So I have to give the nod to him on this one, but it's mainly because of the reason I think that Justice Hill is going to have more of the responsibility at the running back position, just because Keaton Mitchell is not going to be back yet.
You know what? Throw my answer out the window. You're right. Why we keep on putting Hill out there when he's a running back too? What it really should be, thank you, Kate, for bringing this up. It should be Deontay Hardy against Todd Simmons Jr. I totally forgot about this. We signed Todd Simmons Jr. He was in the National Arena League. On July 6th, we signed him 9 days ago. He hit 23.8 miles per hour in his workout in Baltimore. And this right here kind of gives me goosebumps. I'm going to read this. It's from heavy.com. The Ravens are doing their homework on arena football star Todd Simmons. Former players Torrey Smith and Jacoby Jones are advocating for him to get a camp invite. He had 12 total touchdowns in 8 games in the Arena League. So, with that being said, I am now a huge Todd Simmons fan. I want him to make the roster. I want him to be our kick returner for that reason only, having guys like Torrey and now the late, great Jacoby Jones advocating for him. So, yeah, scratch Justice Hill off of there, because if he's our running back too, there's no point in him going back there and taking those kicks back. But yeah, wow. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot if we signed Todd Simmons. I would definitely have to see how fast he is on tape.
Yeah. Lisa's saying here, how about kick returner by committee, guys? I mean, yeah, I figure that's probably what they'll do. I don't think it's going to be the same guy back there every time. I'm sure it'll fluctuate, but that's what we have preseason for. We're going to see who they like back there, who is good fielding those balls and kind of being comfortable with with the new kickoff rule. I don't know. It's man, you guys got me thinking about it now. Like I really want to. Okay, let me ask you this, Alex, really quick. Okay, and I posed this question to the chat too. How much of an impact do you really think this new kickoff rule is going to have on this season and this game, like going forward? Do you think
a
lot?
A lot. Because you got teams like the Jets signing Tariq Cohen, who hasn't played in 2 or 3 years, but he's very explosive as a kick returner. Boz brings up they signed Cordero Patterson for this exact reason. So coaches, I think, believe this can be a real big shift. Even if it's taking you from the 25 to the 40, you only got to go 60 yards. 3 to 4 first downs, or honestly, or for some guys, 2 to 3 first downs, you're in their field goal range already. So I'll be honest, I think it's a huge thing. And hopefully, we know you brought this up. I remember Harbs being a special teams coach. Like, we have got to take advantage of this if it really is going to be this impactful. So, show us why you make the big bucks, Harbs. Like, this is what you know best. And our special teams coach, I'm looking at, because our special teams has kind of been underwhelming the past couple of years. We've had too many field goals, extra points blocked for my liking. Kind of just some bad punts. I even think of last year in the playoff game, the Jordan Stout punt wasn't the best. They go and take it back. Thankfully, it didn't hurt us that much. I want to see our special teams be top 3, because that can really be the difference of us. Who knows going how far? And that's where a lot of money's made. Special teams.
Yeah, and man, I'm just thinking more and more about this now. I mean, because you think like what the league expects is to get more touchdowns, right, out of this play. Because if we're being completely honest with you, the way that it's set up, like once you break that initial line, right, that initial line, you're gone. You're gone. It's no longer like the old kick returns where you have to get through 2 or 3 different waves of guys in order to break free. You know what I mean? Like you break through this one wall, you're gone. It's a foot race at that point. So I think that you're going to see a lot of cheap touchdowns, quick scores. Of course, I think this is going to raise the overall scores, the average scores of games, and that's what the league wants. They want more offense, they want more scoring. So it's going to be very interesting. Okay, I don't want to harp on that too much. Okay,
one thing I want to say too is why I think it'll be impactful. Justin Tucker said he was going to be in the weight room more because he might have to make more tackles. So that to me right there kind of says like, all right, this is serious. And I'm glad you brought up the points thing. Like they said, the average points per game were down last year. So they definitely want more points, more viewership, more kickoff returns, more big plays, more highlights, more views online. Guys like Devin Hester, there's a reason why everybody loves watching them, because they're explosive, get you out of your seat. So yeah, they definitely did this rule for a reason. But
absolutely,
that was the 5, I believe, training camp battles that they had listed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you heard it here first. Those are 5 matchups to look out for, courtesy of Sports Illustrated, an article that they have on their Ravens Country website. Make sure you check them out. Big shout out to them. Okay, so for the rest of the episode, we're going to take some questions from you guys. So make sure you drop your questions down below in the live chat. And if you're not watching this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast live and you happen to be part of the hashtag Replay Gang, thank you so much for joining this episode of the show. We appreciate you just as much. And make sure you leave your questions down below in the comments section because we do like to get to those as well. First question, this one's coming from Lisa and says, how would the hip drop tackle rule be enforced? That's a great question. We haven't really talked about this a whole lot. This is one of the two big rule changes along with the kickoff rule that we were just speaking about that came out of this offseason.
Yeah.
That I think is really, really going to impact the game. Those two rules are really going to change, the game of football, or at least the NFL product that we see, because, hip drop tackles were common. I mean, though, to me, hip drop tackles were like, that was the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like if a guy was ahead of you, and that's all you could do is get to his hips and try to drag him down using your own weight, then so be it. It's football. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yep.
We're not talking about like a big hit over the middle on a defenseless receiver or something like that. We're talking about trying to drag a guy down from his waist. That's what you're supposed to try to do. But listen, I think that this rule is going to be very, very hard to enforce. And Alex, I definitely want to get your take on it, but let me preface it with this. The Ravens have Derrick Henry, right? And I feel like you're probably going to bring this up too. It is going to be absolute hell trying to tackle him, especially if he can break through to the second level through the offensive line. What are you going to do? Once he reaches that almost kind of like top speed, that's how guys would tackle him. You have to you have to kind of dive at his, since he's such a bigger guy, a taller guy, you kind of have to dive at his waist or his legs and try to bring him down that way. So we'll see if that garners like a lot of penalties this season, but I think that's going to be, it's going to benefit the Ravens. I'll say that. It's going to impact the league a lot, but it's going to benefit the Ravens. But what do you think?
Oh, 100% agree with you. I was thinking about that. How do you tackle Derrick Henry? If he's taking it outside, you're not going to meet him, head to head. You're going to literally hip drop him. You're going to go for the legs because you can't drag him down because of how fucking strong he is, how big he is.
Yes.
You have to use all your weight to pull him down. And that was a big thing that Calais Campbell did. I know that's how he stopped him against the Titans in 2020. It was a lot of, we were going at his legs and dragging him down like that. Pernell McPhee was doing it. Like, Pernell McPhee had the game of his life that game, literally hip drop tackling Derrick Henry. And that's how you stopped him. Like, you couldn't sit there and meet him in the hole because when we did that, Earl Thomas got turned into a lead blocker. Or he got through our line and there's Marcus Peters, chasing him down, who had to jump on his back and, had to get him out of bounds. So it's hard. It's going to be hard to take a guy like him down. So we kind of got, I don't know if we knew it was coming, but we got him at the perfect time. I hope there's a lot left on them legs, a lot more tread on them, because I saw it like, I think his over-under was like 925.5. I was just bored and started checking over-unders on FanDuel. Look at the Ravens win-loss. I think it's like 10.5. But I was like, Derrick Henry lays like a minus 110 for over 925. I'm like, okay.
Might hammer that.
He can get that in like 12 games. Depending how this offense goes, and especially if we're leaning on teams, he could definitely hit that. So I don't know if he's going to hit 2,000. I would love for him to, but that means we're using him too much, I'd say. But this definitely benefits us well. So, and if not, it's 15 yards. That's a free 15. As long as he stays healthy.
15 in the first down. Man. Think about it, bro. You try to tackle him high, you're getting stiff arm to hell. You try to tackle him low, you might get a flag thrown on you. 15 yards, automatic first down. How do you stop that? And by the way, you don't even know if he's actually the one getting the ball until the very, very last second. And if he's not getting the ball and Lamar Jackson is keeping it, then you have a whole totally different problem on your hands. It's going. I cannot wait to see what Todd Monken is able to do with this duo, and I'm sitting back waiting to see what defensive coordinators have planned to stop that, because I don't have the answers. I don't, and I know I'm not a football coach by any stretch of the imagination, but that's going to be a headache for a lot of teams and a lot of linebackers. Yeah.
Because I remember how I was taught how to tackle when I was playing as young. I wonder how you teach how to tackle now with all these rules. Like, granted, shit, I got lit up in my day. I was 7, 8 years old, but I was still getting lit up. I mean, you rarely see that now. So it's just hard, I guess. It's hard to play the defensive position. And I love defense so much. It make it harder and harder because they want the offense to score more. And even Tom Brady, there was him talking about how hard it is for guys to play defense. But enough yapping from me. We got another question coming in from Roosh. He says, who do you guys project to be on the starting line? I'll say Ronnie, Voorhees, Linderbaum, Cleveland and hot take Makari. And yeah, I mean, I definitely had him as a dark horse for a right tackle. Um, I'll I'd be pretty worried if he did win the right tackle position because you spent a second rounder on Raja Rosengarten, and I think you switched my mind up right there. Like if he's a second round pick, he has to be playing. Um, but you switch McCarry for Rosengarten, and depending how Voorhees and Cleveland look, I'll feel good about that. But it just to me it's like a middle of the pack line. I want our quarterback to be more protected, considering we're giving him 280 million bags. So,
Yeah.
we should have done a better job getting this line together.
Well, I mean, you can't be good. You can't win everywhere. You can't have every
Yeah,
position be, top of the line. So I kind of understand Eric DeCosta's approach this offseason when it came to the offensive line. Let's rely on an Andrew Voorhees who's basically redshirted his first year with us and but has all that experience as a Trojan, and is really good. Like he's got a lot of
yeah,
experience. That's why I like him. I've always said that I want to see what he can do. When it comes to Roger Rosengarten, again, I mean, second round pick, you got to throw him in there. Again, it's his job to lose, man. He is a secondary kind of like jack of all trades, put him where you need him type of guy, not necessarily like, okay, we're going to plug you here as a starter full time. I just don't,
yeah,
I would rather get Rosengarten kind of, more reps there and let him lose the job. I mean, if he doesn't play well, take him out, but you spent the second round pick,
yep,
you got to see what he can do, so.
yeah.
I'll definitely say, yeah, like you said, everybody here except for Makari, I'm gonna have Rosengarten in his spot.
Yeah, and even then, I
Yeah,
think having Makari as a backup, we know we can play guard at a average to slightly above average level, so I wouldn't hate that either. But yeah, Makari definitely he can literally play anywhere on this line. Um, we had Tanja saying Ray Lewis tackled the right way, tackle like Kyle Hamilton. He uses fundamentals when he tackles. That's why he's the best safety or one of the best safeties in the league and is going into his third year.
yeah.
Um, oh, Dre says Sutton won me some bread last UFC parlay bets. LOL, Sutton, what's your picks? 304s in 2 weeks.
Go for
With
yeah,
Leon Edwards fighting and Patty Pimlet fighting too. Oh, and yes, the home run derby tonight. Wearing my Gunnar Henderson jersey. Hopefully he wins that.
yeah,
Always a fun thing to watch. Boss has Gunnar home run derby lock.
yeah. Dre, if you're
Once you
looking
say
at
that,
if you're, my bad. I was gonna
you're
say,
good.
for Dre's question, real quick, if you're looking at UFC 304, I'll give you my picks for the main three fights. So I'm taking Leon Edwards over Bilal Muhammad 10 times out of 10. Just you can book that one. I'm taking Tom Aspinall to knock out Curtis Blades. And I'm also taking Bobby Green to beat Patty Pimblett by decision. And it's going to be a bloody fight, but
Mm.
I've got Bobby Green taking that one by decision. Yep. So you can put those picks
Oh
in.
wow. Okay.
Last UFC card, I think I put in, I bet Ian Gary by decision. That came to fruition. And then also Alex Pereira by knockout, which is the easiest one. I don't know why
Yeah.
people aren't just hammering that every time it comes up. Alex Pereira is I think a plus 235 underdog for his next fight against Magomed Ankalaev. It's not like live on FanDuel or DraftKings or anything like that yet because the fight's not official, but that's the odds. I think that's what it's going to open as. So as soon as that opens up, oh yeah, method of victory, Alex Pereira by knockout is probably going to be like plus 400. You can probably get it at, I would guess. Oh, bet in the
Light bill.
house.
Light
Bet
bill.
in the house. Yeah. So yeah, those are
Speaking of
my picks,
UFC, I
bro.
saw there was like rumblings of I think Taporia against Holloway. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
I think
wow.
that's going to happen at the Sphere. They're going to do it at the Las Vegas Sphere. There's only going to be 10
Mm.
fights on that card. And of course, that's going to headline the card. Elisa Poirier versus Max Holloway is going to be an absolute banger. Like, Max Holloway is he's in my top five favorite fighters, like, of all time. He is. And not just because of what he did to Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, but what he's been doing his entire career, man. I mean, if you wanna really know who Max Holloway is, look up his highlights against Calvin Kattar. As Calvin Kattar, Kattar. He absolutely demolished him. And Calvin Kattar was like a huge prospect at the time. Embarrassed him. You know what I mean? Like he was hitting him without even looking at him. He was talking to the commentators while hitting him. He was dodging punches. Man, it was an absolute masterclass. So Max Holloway's a beast, but Ilyas Poirier is a young Lion. He's a killer. We saw what he's done to the likes of Alexander Volkanovski, who I think is an all-time great in this sport. Ilya Saporia, he's the real deal. He is no joke at all. There's a reason why he's champion, and he's so popular in his country. But in that fight, I'm still riding with my boy Max Holloway, man. I'm riding with my boy Max through and through. So it's gonna be a great fight, though. I can't wait.
Yeah, and yeah, for the home run derby, I don't want to say Gunnar or lock, but I want to sprinkle him hitting 30 home runs his first go round. I don't know. 25, yes. Give me 25 for the first round if that's there. That's all I got. You got from me. I don't want to have too much hometown, drinking the orange juice, but drinking the orange crush, I should say. But yeah, that's honestly all I got. You got anything else, Sutton?
I think K Dog mentioned who's the main event this weekend for UFC, and that is gonna be. Let's see. Oh, it's Amanda Lemos versus Verna Jandaroba. So it's really not a good card this weekend, to be honest with you. Not a whole lot of big names, not a whole lot of stars. You got Brad Tavares fighting Park Jun Young, which is going to be a decent fight. But you never know with the UFC. That's the beauty of the UFC. I mean, it can look like some decent to not so decent fights on the card, but they can still turn out to be bangers. So you always got to watch. That's what I like about the UFC, man. You got to stay on your toes with a sport like that. So. But yeah, that's just fighting this weekend, K Dog.
Awesome.
Let me see. I
Cool.
think
Well,
I wanted to ask you something, Alex. Oh, did you
power slap.
catch oh my gosh, no. Did you catch Team USA basketball today?
I did not. I was keeping up with it. I saw. All right, listen. I want us to be winning by 60, not 6 points. But I'm gonna sit here and say they're gelling together still. But when the Olympics
Yeah,
come, I want blowouts. I don't even want it to be close.
yeah.
Yeah, a little too close for my liking.
You know, I agree. I agree. I was watching that game earlier today and I was just thinking to myself, like, how are they letting these guys hang around like this? And I get it. Like, there's you got some NBA guys on some of these teams here internationally, and it makes sense why they're able to compete. But we're talking LeBron James and Steph Curry, who had 3 points today. It's just something's got to give. And it's hard. I know it's hard for all those superstars to come together and gel, like you said, because they're all superstars. They're all used to kind of like doing it all themselves. So it kind of looks like an all-star game out there. It looks like they're playing like in an all-star game, and they're just not. They haven't really meshed yet. But I do think that by the time the group play starts and the actual tournament starts and everything like that, they'll be good and they'll be firing on all cylinders. Because you can even see it now. They have stretches in these games. They had the first one was against Canada. Today was against Australia. They have stretches where they just look, you know, like world beaters. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
do anything with this team, But then they have stretches where it's just like, okay, what are they doing, So
Yeah,
a lot of people had criticism for Steve Kerr, the head coach,
I saw.
saying he's not doing very good with the lineups, with the rotation. So we'll see what that kind of turns into. But there's a lot of other really good coaches on that squad as well. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is one of them. They got a couple other
Yeah,
guys
some
as
people said
well.
he should be the head coach. That's
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Spoelstra literally gets the Heat to deep in the playoffs with UDFA's. Like it's every single time I see the Heat, I'm like, who is this guy? And then they go
right.
and just get a huge bag somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. Big shout out to Eric Spoelstra, man. I mean, he had all those years with LeBron, and I kind of took him for granted when he was with LeBron. I kind of gave LeBron all
Yeah.
the credit, but Eric Spoelstra, he's the real deal. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Boz saying here,
Finally, just
Coach
one more
Spo over
thing.
Kerr. Sure.
Yeah, K-Dog says they all need to check their ego. Same problem in the Euros as well as the Copa America. Yeah, let me touch on that real quick. The Euros final was yesterday. England lost 2-1 to Spain. I'm heartbroken over that. And Argentina beat Colombia 1-0. I don't want to keep going too long, but a lot of a rant. Did you see what happened in Miami last night with the fans?
No, I didn't. What happened?
It was mainly Colombia fans. Where they took a ladder and they used a ladder to get into the game without a ticket. They were going in through the air vent ducts. Um, Argentina and Colombia fans smashed up the escalators in the Dolphin Stadium.
Oh
This
yeah, I
is
did see
not.
that. Yeah.
This isn't a Hard Rock problem because they've held the Super Bowl there in 2020. The Niners and Chiefs. This is a CONMEBOL. It's the foundation to put the Copa America together. Um, Soccer fans are crazy, but they just I don't know what they did with security, but it just was not up to date, and it makes America look like a third world country because the World Cup's going to be here in 2 years. If we can't even host the final of the Copa America, how are we going to do it with the World Cup? So they got to get that together. But yeah, I'm not putting the blame on Hard Rock because it was the people who put together the whole competition. So
Well, I
even
think
with
you
the
said it.
game
I
when you
mean,
had
it's soccer
what's up?
fans, isn't it? Why are soccer fans so savage?
I mean, like I said, it felt third world. Like you're literally rushing into you bring a ladder, going through ducks, and you're destroying the stadium. Have some respect, because if I were to go overseas, I'm not going to sit here and smash up a foreign countries, stadium. It's just a bad look for us, and I'm not blaming Colombians or Argentines because I bet you there was Americans doing it too. It's that mob mentality, but yeah, man, it was embarrassing just to see that how they get it together because it's not our fault. It was the competition. That's what happens. It was awful, but yeah, man, a lot of egos on those teams, and that's why England lost. I think to Spain, a lot of egos, a lot of me, not we. Um, but yeah, hopefully we can get together for World Cup because once in a lifetime thing coming up in 2026.
Right? You hate to see it. You hate to see it,
Yeah,
man. But I don't know. I feel like somebody should do a study on why soccer fans are so savage because I've heard
yeah,
multiple stories, kind of just with fans either just being super obnoxious or, going out of their way to like, talk to the players or do things.
yep,
Of course, we hear about these things in other sports like football, basketball, very rarely baseball, stuff like that. But like soccer,
yeah.
it just seems like I don't know what it is with these fans, but like they're very passionate. Of course, I mean, I
South
think it's the
America.
most
It's South America.
really.
They I think that's where like the refs will be KILOED. I don't know if I can say that, but yeah, that's where they'll yeah, Argentina. I think it's Boca Juniors against River Plate. Boz, correct me if I'm wrong. Like that's like one of the most heated games. Like there's like military called for that because how heated the fan bases get with each other. Like yeah, like
Jeez.
imagine like Ravens Steelers, but like we'd have military there because of how bad it got. Like yeah, there will be fights, but not know not to the point. The UK is bad, but it doesn't hold it. Trust me, it doesn't hold anything to South America. Like yeah, it's freaking crazy.
Mm. I've heard about, yeah, I've definitely heard about the UK as well. Man, crazy stuff.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we don't have that. Thankfully, not a lot of that isn't a normal thing here. But yeah, World Cup's gonna be crazy. Hopefully, it'll be more fun. Flares thrown. That's true. They'll throw flares at players. Happens in France a lot. They have to suspend games, and then even I think in the Netherlands this year, or no, it's Portugal. They their fans went to their training ground and rushed the players. So it's just soccer in general.
Insane.
Never mind. Throw out the whole South America. It's soccer in general. They're fucking
Mm.
crazy.
I don't know what it is, but all right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to leave it there for the question segment. And this episode of the Purple Rain podcast has been episode 248. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. The season is right around the corner, so expect a lot more content coming out your way on YouTube and Instagram as well. Listen, you can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see down below. You can follow this guy over here on X at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. Pretty much SimplyAS10 everywhere. Anywhere you want to find him, SimplyAS10. And again, like we led the episode with, Manscaped. You can go on manscaped.com right now, like literally right now. You can type in the code PRP, save yourself 20% off all sorts of products. Listen, the ball deodorant, the ball toner. This is for my fellas out there. I know we have some ladies who watch the show too, but for the fellas, those two products right there are a absolute necessity. It's a must.
Yep.
So you're not musty. Okay. So make sure you go to
Yeah.
manscaped.com, use our code PRP, save yourself 20% off. Again, I want to thank you guys for coming out to the show. This episode 248 of the Purple Rain podcast. And again, I want to give a rest in peace to Jacoby Jones, Ravens legend, Super Bowl
Indeed.
champion. Prayers and thoughts to his family. And with that being
Yes.
said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Thank you for coming through. 248 of the rain. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 248 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one.